Each time I beamed down from my personal starship into the 2D side-scrolling craft-em-up that is Starbound, I found an experience that shoots for the stars and lands squarely among them. Exploration of a diverse array of planets, biomes, and subterranean nightmares is the highlight of the voyage, but the combat, scripted bosses, and rich backstory help this excellent evolution of the established Terraria formula shine nova bright. Each planet I visited had me breaking blocks, exploring caves, and hunting for resources to combine and craft into items. It handles that whole routine as well as any of its peers, and even allows you to group up with friends. What truly elevates this open-ended crafting sandbox above others like it is diversity, though. There are over a dozen interesting planet types to discover, from temperate to jungle to roiling seas of magma, and procedural generation guarantees an endless supply of them to explore. Each also contains several different biomes, both above and below ground, and plenty of exciting and randomized locations, dungeons, new crafting resources, and quests to discover. The side-scrolling combat, whether you prefer a melee weapon or a slightly more thematically appropriate firearm, is tactical, responsive, and at times intensely challenging. Diverse enemies and fighting styles allow experimentation and prevent battles from becoming stagnant and repetitive. I especially loved the story-based chapter bosses. Each of them is very distinct from the next, and some of the later ones are a serious challenge straight from the old-school Mega Man playbook. The frantic, retro-hardcore difficulty left me craving more. The story itself isn't the most complex or mind-blowing, but the universe developer Chucklefish built to tell it in is overflowing with character and detail. Each of the 6 sentient races has a unique culture, architectural style, and ongoing conflict that must be resolved in order to save the galaxy. From ferocious plant people struggling with a subculture of cannibalism, to self-aware robots stuck in a humorously medieval mindset due to a glitch in their programming, there's plenty of it. Books and other documents hidden throughout the sprawling levels provide details on everything from political history to hunting rituals, and the inventive scripted dungeons at the end of each chapter let you interact with these hinted-at elements up close and personal. All of the story is optional. There's nothing to stop you from going off and setting your own goals in traditional Minecraft or Terraria fashion. But if you choose to let the story guide you, it interweaves itself with the non-story-based progression paths in a way that made me feel like I didn't need to pick one or the other. In between chapter bosses, I was often prompted to travel to new worlds, contact a new race, discover new resources, and craft better equipment. All things I would have been doing anyway. By the end, I had a good grasp of what further adventures were available to me and how best to prepare myself for them. The story supplements the core gameplay, rather than merely sitting on top of it. Starbound did manage to frustrate me a few times in that it's a bit too easy for its risk-reward systems to catch you in a death spiral. Dying in most areas means dropping all of your crafting materials, food, and consumables. If that happens to be in the depths of an ice world past several fathoms of respawning enemies, getting back to your stuff intact could be a huge problem. That in itself is fairly standard roguelike gameplay. But the hitch is that healing items become absolutely critical in the late game, and sometimes I found myself in a vicious cycle where multiple deaths depleted not just my supply, but my ability to acquire more of these necessary provisions by draining my bank account. Farming resources to recover from that was some of the least enjoyable time I spent with Starbound. Starbound excels as a crafting and exploration game, as a 2D platformer with varied and engaging combat, and as a Zelda-esque story RPG with a detailed world and memorable alien cultures to interact with. But it's really the expert fashion in which it weaves all of these concepts together that makes it truly special. For more on Starbound, stick with IGN.